This episode is sponsored by Brevo, Collective, and Shopify. Brevo is your all-in-one marketing and CRM platform that helps you turn attention into actual revenue. From email marketing to automation to CRM tools, Brevo keeps your audience warm without you manually following up 24/7. And Collective helps you handle the business side of being a creator or entrepreneur. From bookkeeping to taxes to compliance, they make sure you're structured correctly and not leaving money on the table. And Shopify, your commerce engine. It's how you actually sell the thing. Whether that's digital products, physical products, or services, Shopify gives you the tools to build, market, and scale your store all in one place. If you're serious about building a real business, not just posting content, these are the tools behind the scenes. Get started with Brevo at brevo.com/creator. Save with Collective at collective.com/CHC. And launch with Shopify, shopify.com/CHC. Welcome back to Call Her Creator, the podcast for women who want bigger dreams, bigger careers, and a life that actually feels good to live. And today we're talking about something a lot of us have been feeling, but maybe we're not saying it out loud. There are so many smart, ambitious women who are quietly stepping away from that traditional corporate job, and they're building their own influence, their own income, their own freedom online instead. And I am so excited. My guest today is Brianna Doe. She's CEO of Verbatim, creator economy strategist, and she's someone who has truly seen both sides of this shift like super up close. She's worked inside of corporate marketing rooms, she's worked with massive brands, she's worked with creators building empires from their phones. So for this episode, we're going to be pulling back that curtain on what modern professionalism really looks like not the stiff part or the perfectly curated LinkedIn version, but the real version with two women who are ambitious, but we also crave peace and we want to build our own life, right? So before we get in today's episode, real quick, Stan is hosting their Dare to Post challenge right now, guys. And this is like the easiest way for you to really get into the groove of posting. And if you post for 30 days during this Dare to Post challenge, you could win a share of their 100K prize pool. So this is the time to show up, to post, to not give up. I'm doing the challenge myself with my Call Her Creator account, trying to get to that 10K followers over there. So I'm going to link the challenge in my show notes and we'll get registered for that ASAP. So, hey friend, welcome back to Call Her Creator, powered by your all-in-one creator store, Stan. Stan is the easiest way for you to make money online. All of your courses, digital products, and bookings are hosted within your link in bio. If you're ready to start your free trial, visit my show notes and click my affiliate link to get started today. Brianna, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Also, that was the kindest intro and you made me sound so cool. So if you can
Oh,
just follow me
stop.
around introducing me to people, that would be great.
You actually are really cool. So before we even started on here, I'm just already connecting with her. She's got, if you're watching this on YouTube, she's got a beautiful background. Let's see, what do we got back there? Vibe. Tell me about what you got back there, actually, real quick.
So I had my moment when we moved into our new house where I just wanted a gallery wall.
Yes.
And I went onto this site called Drool, which is questionable name, but they just had the coolest art I'd ever seen. And I really just wanted something that felt like me. I've always loved art. I've always loved museums. And so I ordered all of this stuff. I don't know if you can see it all, and just had my husband
Oh my God,
place
I
it all.
love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's wonderful. So
Drool.
yeah, Drool Art. Huge
All
fan.
right. All right. Drool art.
Hashtag sponsor me. Yeah.
Yeah, we just gave a plug. Okay. So for listeners that are meeting you for the first time, let's start by giving them like the quick version of your journey and how you
Mhm.
ended up at the intersection of like that corporate leadership role, but also creator culture. So like take us back.
Yeah, so I would say it starts actually when I was in college. I studied film and media, wanted to be a screenwriter. Yeah, I had it all planned out. I was going to move to New Zealand and just write movies, like write screenplays all the time. Um, and I had a few friends my sophomore and junior year who all just dropped out one after the other to start nonprofits. And they had a mission, they had a passion for it, but no idea what to do with marketing. So I taught myself everything I would need to know. I was already a photographer. So I was creating content for them. I taught myself like graphic design, the basics of paid advertising, things like that, and just fell in love with it completely. Decided to continue with my film degree, but go into marketing after college. And it's interesting, like when I think, we're expected to know what we want to do with our lives when we're freshmen in college. By the time I graduated, I felt really insecure about the fact that I didn't have like a marketing internship under my belt. I didn't have like the traditional experience that it felt like so many of my new colleagues did. And so I spent quite a few years trying to figure out, okay, like what do I want to specialize in? What do I enjoy about marketing? Like what do I want my career to look like? Because it was a complete 180 from, from filmmaking. Um, and I just never felt like I fully fit in. Like yeah, I just never felt like I really none of the roles I picked ever really made sense for me. I was never really that happy. I struggled with this, like, cycle of burnout. I would get into a new job. It'd be great for, like, 3 to 6 months, and then the workload would increase, or people would get laid off, and I'd have more responsibilities, or I would just realize I was underpaid, or whatever the case may be.
Yes.
And I would just keep trying to chase whatever I thought success looked like. Um, and it wasn't until couple of years ago, I hired a business coach or career coach because I had started a new role at a fintech company. Same thing. It was great for 3 months. And then I was miserable again. And I hired her to just help me understand like what my blind spots were, like what was not working. I'd been at it for over a decade. This cannot be what a career looks like. And she asked me a ton of questions and just said at the end, from everything you're telling me, it doesn't sound like you want to work for somebody. It sounds like you want to work for yourself. So
Oh,
we can either continue down this path of helping you figure out how to manage up more effectively and, you know, all the things, or we can help you map out your corporate exit. And that brings us to 2026. And I'm almost 3 years into my agency.
wow. I have a similar story too. I feel like, with maybe it's our entrepreneurial spirit, but you just feel, deep down like you're meant for more or there's something else out there that's gonna light you up. Cause I kinda job hopped a little bit and I would be there for a while and I was really good at my jobs that I would do, but I would get like you either I was bored or I felt underpaid or I just didn't like it anymore. And then you just like, "Okay, I'm done with this. Let me switch gears."
Yes, exactly. I was a job hopper through and through.
Okay, and yeah, I
Yeah.
just feel are you a millennial too?
I am. Are you?
Yes,
This
I feel
makes
like it's
sense.
a millennial thing too.
It really is. I love that for
Right?
us.
And for anyone listening too that's in college, and gosh, I changed my career path so many times. I was supposed to be a nurse, and then I was gonna be a teacher, and then I was gonna be a news anchor, and now I own an agency. So we do the things until we figure out what we're gonna do.
Exactly.
So okay, you've worked with like major brands and online creators. What originally pulled you into the influencer marketing world and like what are you doing now?
Yeah. So all of the roles that I took, so for context,
Yeah.
from the time I left college until the time I launched my business, I always had a full-time job and then I was also like freelancing or doing fractional work on the side.
Same, by the way.
So, okay, you get me. You just get me.
Yes.
And so every role that I took, it was always that job where your title is like marketing manager or head of marketing, but you have 97 hats that you wear each day. Yep. And one of those hats was always influencer marketing. And I loved it. I love all things like internet culture, social, creator economy, and I just really enjoyed, like, mapping out these campaigns and activations with different creators and different, like, online personalities. This is back before it was cool, like, it was a lot of bloggers and just, like, random people online. I enjoyed it so much. I thought it was just the best, and as I grew within my career, my roles started to kind of narrow down to, like, influencer marketing or influencer adjacent, so, like, head of community, like, head of social, head of marketing, things like that, where you really get to partner both with creators and with brands, and so with Verbatim, we started as full service. I think, when you start an agency, yes, ideally, you're doing just what you wanna do, but I also had rent to pay.
Yep.
So, you know how
Yep.
it is. So we
Yep.
started as full service and then eventually after about a year niche down to influencer marketing and speaker sourcing. So for conferences and brands that are putting on events, we'll find the speakers for those and coordinate all of that and negotiate. And then we do fractional operations for agencies as well.
Okay, I love that. So what, wow, so you're doing all the fun stuff.
Yep. I really
What
just built a career around the things I love.
That's what I'm thinking is like, and that's what I try to teach people. That's exactly why I made Call Her Creator podcast too, is because I truly believe you can find something that you really love and you can create a career around it. And would you say that's what you did? How did you do that? Like for people that are
Um,
in that spot that we were in where they're questioning if they really like their job or not, like how do you decide, okay, it's time to do my own thing?
yeah, I think a big part of it, at least for me, was that I spent the first however long it was, 10 or 12 years of my career just focusing on learning. Like I could be deeply unhappy in this role, but I also knew it wasn't the right time to leave. So what can I learn from this about managing expectations with C-suite execs or about how I talk to creators or whatever the case may be, like as it relates to your job. Yeah, but like centering it around how you can grow within this and what you can take from this role with you to the next one was a huge game changer for me. And I think a lot of what I learned in those roles was about management of other people and of expectations, and that plays so much into influencer marketing.
Mhm.
And so I think for anybody who's in that situation where they know what they love or they're at least figuring out what they don't like, those are the two most important things. Learn as much as you can and figure out what you enjoy. Um, and I don't know if you can relate to this or if this resonates, but I did feel discouraged sometimes. I felt like I was only checking the box and knocking off things that I didn't like. I couldn't quite put my finger on what it was that I enjoyed. I didn't know at the
Mhm.
beginning that it was influencer marketing. That took me a
Right.
while. And so you just have to be open to new opportunities. You have to be open to trying different projects and trying different roles and kind of uncovering that part of your
Yeah.
career.
I agree with you, and I think something just lights you up at one point. With me, like, my first job was leasing apartment homes, um, and I did not really like it, but there was some marketing aspects to it, right? Like, you gotta market these apartment homes. But one day, my boss put a book on my desk, and it was, like, likable media or something, likable social media or something. It's right when social media started getting big, and I read that book, and I was like, "Oh my god, I think this is my thing," and then I just immersed myself in it, and I started taking on extra projects, and then they started, taking me around to other apartment complexes owned by the company because I was really good at social media. So I agree with you there, like, you have to try out a lot of different things before you actually decide what it is that you wanna do. Tell me about your book.
Oh my gosh, the book. So I wrote a book last year called The Unapologetic Professional, and it was a journey to write. You know, when I first landed the book deal, the proposal that got greenlit was not what the book eventually became. I think the original version of the book was like how to build your business in the modern economy, which yawn, first of all, I did not want to write that. But I
Yeah.
start writing it and what I was writing was more along the lines of like what I'd learned over the past couple of years, or the past decade. I started just essentially what I did was I started off talking about imposter syndrome,
Mm.
um, and
Mhm,
how you kind of internalize that, especially as women.
mhm.
But I think anybody in corporate America, you just start to internalize that. And how do you unpack that? How do you figure out which parts of it are systemic versus, you know, which parts of it can you actually control and start to mitigate? So we shift from that into, okay, now you've started unpacking imposter syndrome. How do you figure out what kind of career you want to build? How do you figure out what it is that you enjoy? And then at the end of the book, all right, you're building this career that you are passionate about. How do you untangle your sense of self-worth from your job title and still find joy outside of your career?
What made you start writing that book?
Wiley, the publisher, reached out August 2024, but
Okay.
I'd always been a writer. I've always wanted to write a book. I mean, ever since I was a
Right,
kid, I've just written nonstop. I figured I would at some point. I just assumed I'd be in my 50s or my 60s, like after I'd had this really long, illustrious career.
right.
I Speaking of imposter syndrome, I wasn't sure anybody would want to hear from me. I mean, I'm only like a decade and a half in. Like, what could I possibly have to share? But it's been really it was impactful to write. I learned more about myself along the way, and it's been really cool to hear how it's impacting people too.
So that opportunity from Wiley just kinda landed in your lap, or were you, like, pitching? Like,
It landed in my lap from LinkedIn. So I
wow,
yeah, so I write
okay.
on LinkedIn, I people have told me over the years to do video content, but I just kept sticking to writing. It's
You're
what
a
I
writer.
love. And the acquisitions editor reached out and said, I've been following you for a while. Have you ever thought about writing a book? I thought it was a scam. So I
Yeah.
ignored her for like a month. And then we finally hopped on a call and, the rest is history.
Oh, that is so cool, and I so agree with that too. You gotta really lean into what makes you happy and what you're good at. So if video is not your thing and but writing is, you gotta lean into that. Let's talk about professionalism for a minute. So let's compare. So there was that 2016 trend that was going on. Everyone was sharing things in 2016. Now we're in 2026. So 10 years have gone by. What's the big differences between professionalism then and now?
That's an amazing question. I'd be curious if you agree with this, but I think one of the biggest changes has been how we used to define it, which was more external versus how we define it now, which is internal. So 2016, it was, is your blazer ironed?
Mhm.
Are you showing up in a way that makes me feel comfortable? Like, is your outfit appropriate? And obviously there is still, like stipulations around what appropriate is, but
Mhm.
like, is it the blazer? Are you wearing a t-shirt to work? That's unprofessional. It was like how you looked more so than your work ethic, how you show up for your team, how you show up for your manager or for your direct reports. I think I'm seeing a shift towards professionalism being defined by your integrity,
Mm.
and not so much if you wear a white tee to a meeting, which I think is really powerful. And I think too, I mean, I'm covered in tattoos now. I wasn't in 2016. I've always wanted tattoos, and a big part
Oh.
of the reason why I didn't get them was because I was told from a very young age. I mean, my parents, it was very obvious I wanted tattoos. And I was told from
Mhm.
a very young age, like, it's gonna hurt your chances of getting a job. It's not professional. But less and less people are defining professionalism by how tattooed you are or aren't, which I think is really cool.
That is really cool, and that is so funny too with that first job I was talking about. They actually ended up taking us to a specific store to buy specific clothes to wear in that role, and it's like,
Yeah.
did those clothes make me a better worker? No, not really. Actually, no, they didn't at all. Like, now I'll wear, like, a baseball cap or something, and I do some of my best work when I'm not, dolled up in makeup and my hair is done, so I think that's yeah, you're onto something there. Starting something new can feel terrifying. I remember when I first launched my podcast and my business, constantly asking myself, what if no one listens? What if no one buys? What if this just doesn't work? But choosing to take that leap was one of the best decisions I've ever made, and having the right tools makes all the difference. That's why so many entrepreneurs trust Shopify. Shopify is the commerce platform behind millions of businesses worldwide and powers 10% of all e commerce in the US. It helps you build a beautiful online store with ready to use templates, create email and social media campaigns to reach customers, and manage everything from inventory to analytics all in one place. It's time to turn those what ifs into with Shopify today. Sign up for your $1 per month trial at shopify.com/CHC. Go to shopify.com/CHC. That's shopify.com/CHC. Are you ready to take your business's marketing to the next level? Meet Brevo, the all-in-one marketing and CRM platform built to help you connect with customers, boost engagement, and grow your business smarter. With Brevo, you can manage all your customer interactions in one place, nurture leads with their built-in CRM, reach your audience through email and SMS, and keep them coming back with powerful automations. But here's where it gets really exciting. Meet Aura, Brevo's AI assistant. Aura helps you craft smarter campaigns by suggesting personalized content, optimizing send times, and even analyzing performance data to help you improve your strategy in real time. It's like having a marketing expert on your team 24/7. And of course, Brevo offers advanced analytics, seamless integrations, and AI driven personalization, everything you need to create multi channel campaigns that hit the mark every time. Get started for free today or use code CREATOR50 to save 50% on starter and standard plans for the first 3 months of an annual subscription. Just head to www.brevo.com/creator and take your marketing further with Brevo and Aura.
Yeah.
Let's talk about ambition and burnout and balance. What what would you say healthy ambition looks like? So you can talk about, like there's a lot of women out there, high achieving women, they feel exhausted or they used to love what they were doing and now they don't. Like what do you think is healthy ambition versus that exhausted ambition?
I think a lot of it, or a good chunk of it, is seasonal. Like there are just going to be times in your
Mm,
career in your life where you're going to work more or
mhm.
harder or whatever adjective
Season.
you want to throw in. But there are seasons with Verbatim, my agency, where we have 10 campaigns launching in the next month. We know we're going to have to work more. You plan for it, and then you carve out time for rest. And I think that's the line between healthy and unhealthy from what I've gathered is, okay, how are you carving out time for rest, for self-care, for the things that bring you joy and that light you up outside of work, even if it can't be right at this moment? And also, to a great extent, how much are you defining yourself by your ambition, or like your worth by your ambition? I think the more we tie our worth up into what we've accomplished, or like into our output,
Mhm.
the more we start to see the unhealthy side of it. What do you
Did
think?
you used to do that or do you
Oh
do
my
that?
gosh.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
I used to do that a lot. I mean, I
I
think
struggle
it's
with that now.
I do too. I think it's hard. I mean, we're just taught to judge ourselves by our output. I think that is part of American culture too. Like we
Mhm.
work a lot here, and the hustle, or the hustle culture is celebrated. Um and it was a bit of a shift. I'm curious if you experienced this, like when I launched my own business, not being tied to a company and just being like the founder of this random agency. I did have a bit of like an existential crisis with that.
Mhm.
Um, and then now, even now, sometimes I struggle with the founder title. Like, does it sound good enough? What does it mean? Like, do people think
Mm.
that's cool enough? But it doesn't matter, you
Yeah,
know?
I don't struggle with titles, but what I do struggle with is I honestly thought starting my own business would mean, like, you get to do what you want, work when you want, but actually I work probably triple thousand times more than when I was working for somebody else.
Yep.
It never turns off. I've told myself that I'm entering my soft girl era for work this year, just because at the end of last year, my health really started to decrease, and I know that there is a huge correlation between my health and how hard I have been working. Because, like you said, we're taught, it's what can you achieve is what's gonna make or break who you are as a human. And then some of us too with childhood issues, like maybe you had to do things to get attention from your parents and accomplish things. So that's something too that I'm learning to work through, but I'm making it a huge priority now just to have my slower mornings. Like maybe there's a walk in there and I have my coffee before I just immediately check my email and text. So we have to make sure we're doing and giving ourselves that time.
I love that you mentioned that because as somebody who's also a high achiever and has been from childhood, like
Mhm.
when I think about carving out time for rest, or however you want to phrase it, I think of this huge overhaul of my entire life.
Yep.
But it doesn't have to be that. I mean, my therapist said once, just asking yourself every hour, like, what have I done for myself in the past 60
Ooh,
minutes? And it can be a walk, right? It can be 10 minutes away from your screen, whatever the case may be. Like finding those moments are what will help ground you and also just keep you healthier,
yes.
especially in the long run.
Yes, that's a huge thing. I'm reading about longevity right now. What are signs that a woman is succeeding on the outside, but maybe she's struggling on the inside?
For me,
Yep. Yeah, for you. Give us real life
yeah,
examples, girl. Like maybe
I
you were
lose interest in
ooh,
everything else.
oh.
Yeah.
Yep, yep, yep.
Yeah, that's one of the most glaring signs. I'm sure there are other signs, before that that I'm just ignoring, but
Yeah.
that's one of the big ones. Like when I either feel like I cannot turn off work, like I'm physically incapable of it, and or I don't have the energy to do anything else. I don't really want to
Mhm.
see my friends. I don't want to go anywhere. Because I think that's the biggest sign for me. And then I mean, maybe this one's really personal or, like, not maybe this is more niche, but I just get really irritable.
Mhm.
Like,
Oh,
I'm
same.
not yeah, I'm not happy enough. Like,
Yeah.
my wins are not enough at that point. I'm
Yes.
irritable, like, I can't keep up with whatever my own definition of success is, um, and
Mm.
I just get burnt out.
Oh, I was listening to a podcast this morning. Lori Harder, I just love her. She's one of my mentors. She was doing a podcast episode with her husband Chris, and he was talking about just entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship has the ebbs and flows. So like 24 months you'll be doing really, really well, but then like 6 to 12 months you go to a downfall, and then you'll do the next 18 months doing really well and then a downfall. So it becomes a cycle, but if you can recognize that cycle and not get too hard on yourself, that really helps, and especially working in, like, influencer marketing too, we start to really lean into that outside validation and, like, "Oh, if I post, I'm gonna get these likes and these comments and drive traffic to my website and get more business." But gosh, Instagram, specifically for me, has changed so much that, like, I can't just post something and get 100 likes like I used to, like, super fast. Um, so I think kind of like the cycle there too with like the outside validation. We just really have to lean into ourselves and like what is important to you, Caitlin? What do you want? And then work our way from those goals versus outside validation from everybody else.
Exactly, and I think it goes back to what we were talking about earlier around, like, what are you learning along the way in these roles if you work in-house? A big part of that too is understanding how you define success for yourself, because
Mhm.
otherwise you're gonna let something else define it for you, whether it's, your favorite creator on social or your manager, whoever the case, whoever it is. But you have to know what success looks like for you because that'll be your North Star. And if what you're doing is not moving you towards that goal in some capacity, then you probably need to take a step back.
Right. What are some things that you do personally as a founder, like to protect your own boundaries and to find your own happiness when you're feeling in those low spots?
Yeah, I there are a couple things I won't sacrifice. It's my sleep and it's my hobbies. And I think it's especially to your point being a founder, I work more now than I have ever worked in my entire life. I was not expecting that. I love it because I love the work I'm doing.
Same.
But if it starts cutting into my sleep, I'm not as good at what I do. And so I'm just a nicer person and a
Mhm.
harder worker when I've had enough sleep. So that's really important to me. And then my hobbies, like things that I cannot define as productive or like revenue generating, I really do my best to protect those. And it's random stuff. I mean, I bought a pizza oven so I can get better at making pizzas. It's like pottery classes. Like
Love
it's
that.
yeah, it's just things that bring me joy and make me feel alive outside of work. And learning how to say no, I would say has also been a huge one. Like even when it's something that sounds fun, do I have the capacity for this? Is it going to bring me some level of peace, some learnings, revenue, whatever, however I want to define it? If
Yep.
it's not, then maybe it's a not right now.
Yep. Oh, I love that. I love that, especially even, like, clients that I've had forever, sometimes they'll ask a little extra of me, and I always try to be the yes girl, but I'm learning, like, "Okay, Caitlin, we gotta run it through some steps before you say yes to this." And on your
Exactly.
point too about doing things that make you happy, I have this client which really she really inspired me, though I haven't taken action yet. She started singing lessons, and I'm like, "What?" And she's like, "Really dig back deep into your heart of when you were little, what were some things that you loved to do?" And I loved singing. I would be in all the talent shows when I was little and sing. I don't do it anymore because 'cause I'm like, I got scared because I took you stop doing something and then it gets scary, and now I don't do it anymore, but I wanna start taking singing lessons again or learn how to play the piano or something that can just instead of, like, watching my trash TV that we talked about before we started recording, we could do things like that that really play into our inner child to help with that, burnout, not feeling so burnout all the time and like you're always on.
I love that. I really love that. I'm learning Chinese right now, and
What?
it's making me think. Yeah, it's very
Yes!
difficult, but it's so fun. But it
Oh,
reminds me because I used to love learning languages when I was a kid, and so that explains why I'm enjoying it so much. But to your
yes.
point, yeah, I think I was doing some research on why time feels like it moves faster when we're adults.
Mhm.
And what I've found so far is that a lot of it's because when we're younger, our brains are taking in so much new information, so we're
Mhm.
experiencing, like, every moment. As adults, we do a lot of the same things every day, and so
Same.
we're not processing new information or new experiences, so the time just moves quicker, quote, unquote. And so I think that speaks to what you're saying as well, like, when you are having these moments outside of work and prioritizing things that bring you joy, you can slow those moments down by going back to things that brought you joy when you were a kid and learning those. So I
Yeah,
love that.
I love it too, I know. Let's challenge each other. Well, you're doing it already. I feel like you're learning, so I need to go get my crap together.
To be fair, I love my trash TV, so I
Okay,
support
right?
all of this.
It's something that gets my mind completely off work. Um,
Exactly.
Tax season is right around the corner, and if you're already dreading it, you're not alone. I used to get so stressed around this time of year, but Collective has made it so much easier and way less overwhelming. Collective keeps your business tax ready all year long, from capturing every deduction and keeping your books clean to quarterly tax estimates and professionally prepared tax filings. They handle the back office so you don't have to. It's truly an all in one financial solution that turns tax season from a panic into peace. And right now, Collective is giving my listeners 50% off your first 2 months when you go to collective.com/CHC. That's 50% off your first 2 months at collective.com/CHC. Again, collective.com/CHC.
okay, I want to talk real quick about the creator economy just because we have someone here that does this. From your perspective, running Verbatim, what makes a creative or a creator attractive to brands? Like, think about someone that is just getting into influencer marketing. What are some things they can do to really make themselves stand out and be attractive to working with?
It's a great question. 2 things immediately come to mind. One is I'm gonna throw a buzzword out there, but I'll explain. Authenticity,
Mhm.
and, you know, it's about having a point of view. It doesn't have to be a spicy point of view or a
Ooh,
controversial one, but I wanna be able to look at your content and like, get to know you a bit, like, understand who you are as a person, like, what matters to you within, the parameters of what you share. Like, who are you a bit? Because that's also how people will connect with you as your audience grows. They wanna know who you are, they wanna know who they're following, and then also the quality of the engagement. A big metric that we track is engagement rates as a whole, but I always tell our clients just as important, or maybe even more importantly, is the quality of that engagement rate. Is it a lot of like good posts, love this content, or is
yeah.
it like thoughtful discourse, like real conversations in the comments? Because that's a sign that somebody's built more of a community and not just a following.
Ooh, I love that. That's a really good pro tip. What about, mistakes you see creators
Mm.
making? Like, if they're thinking about a brand partnership, what are top mistakes they make?
I would say the number one mistake is framing your impact around what you think is important, not what the brand is optimizing the campaign for.
Oh,
So it's always been interesting, like, because I worked in influencer marketing for years before I started creating content on LinkedIn. And so seeing both sides of it now has been really interesting because I can see both parties don't seem to understand what drives the other one. For
right,
marketers, like, I can like your content as a marketer, but
right,
if I can't justify this spend to my manager, the partnership's not gonna happen.
right.
So, instead of telling me, like, how great your videos look, unless that's important to this campaign, tell me, like, about the audience that you've built, share your demographics, share your engagement rate, the quality of the engagement, like, show me past sponsored content. Frame
Mm,
it within like a frame it within parameters that the brand will care about, because
mhm,
you're that's gonna help you win, it's gonna help them win too.
mm. I love that. Do you, do you suggest people working through an agency to get more brand partnerships or working on their own? Like, what's the path of least
Mm.
resistance?
Huh, so that's a great question. So, okay, unfortunately, I don't think this should be the case, but I have found that brands see a level of credibility when a creator works with an agent or an agency. Like I
Okay.
said, I don't think that should be the case, and I it actually doesn't impact my view of them at all if they have an agent or not.
Yeah.
But I do see that happen quite a bit. I think
Okay.
from the creator perspective, so I have an agent and I brought him in specifically because my number one priority is my business. Like, the
Mhm.
partnerships are secondary, and so operationally, I could no longer sustain I could no longer handle both on my own. So I think
Right.
as a creator, if you're reaching a point where you either need help landing new partnerships, you need help with negotiation, or you need help just making it all work, like getting back to people faster, delivering higher quality content because you have less on your plate, like that's when I would consider bringing on an agency.
Do they need to have a certain amount of followers?
I think that's gonna depend on the agent or the
Okay.
agency. Like and it depends on their specialty. Like some specialize in micro influencers, some like follower count doesn't matter as much. It's the type of content you create. Um, I would say, I mean, honestly though, I don't know if I would advise anybody get an agent until they're at least at like 10K, mainly because I think most agents are going to charge you a monthly fee and then a commission on top. So you
Yep,
need to be able to justify the spend, in
yep.
my opinion.
For someone who's stuck in a corporate job right now, but they really wanna be a creator, what would you give them as far as steps go? Like, I know we talked about trying new things and getting good at it, but, like, if they're like, "Alright, 2026 is my year, how do I leave corporate and really do this full time?" What would you say to them?
I would say where I see most people get stuck in this journey is in overthinking and in analysis paralysis. So if you spend the next 3 months figuring out what kind of content you want to create, those are 3 months that you could have just been testing and growing. So
Oh,
as
good.
cliche as it is, like just start. You don't need to know exactly who you want to be online yet. You don't need to have your next 6 months of content planned out. Like just start getting comfortable putting your voice out there and putting your thoughts out there. Um, that's what I did with LinkedIn.
Mhm.
I thought I was going to talk about marketing all the time. I think I've talked about it like 4 times. And I just talk about my career and what I'm learning and now entrepreneurship. So just keep learning as you're going, but like just get out there and start creating content and seeing what feels right.
How many times a week do you post on LinkedIn? And, like, for these new creators, how many times should they be posting per week?
It's gonna depend on your platform. I would say for Instagram, aim for no less than 3 to 4 times a week. Um, the algorithm is constantly shifting. I
Mhm,
know reels are really hot right now, and I guess carousels to an extent. The thing
mhm.
is, it's not necessarily about being the one that's posting the most, it's about
Okay,
being the one who's posting consistently. So
okay.
build up a cadence that's sustainable for you, and then you can
Mhm.
scale it if you need to. But I would aim for 3 to 4 on Instagram. TikTok, I mean, I think like every day is maybe ideal or at least 5 days a week, and then or 4, and then for LinkedIn, I would aim for 3 times a week.
Okay.
Um, I
Is that what
post, I think,
you're doing?
like 3 to
Yeah.
4 times.
I
It
guess
depends on
so.
the week, like yeah, because my business will always take priority, and I'm not good at batch creating content, unfortunately,
Right.
so sometimes it's 2 times a week, sometimes it's 0, sometimes it's 4 or 5, but I will say there's also gonna come a point where you've built up this audience that really likes your content and is just engaging with it, you'll
Mhm,
have this flywheel built where you don't have to show up every day.
mhm.
You
I
can
like
still be
that.
part of conversations.
I agree with you telling people to just start doing it, start building that following, start figuring out where you wanna go with it, who you wanna target, and then I always tell people too, like, I didn't just quit my corporate job without I had a safe place, like, I had a savings saved up, my husband was like, "Okay, you can do this for the next blah, 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 and we're covered." Like, would you tell people to have, like, a backup plan before they just jump ship, or, like, when do you go for it?
I mean, personally, I'm with you, like, I would want some kind of safety nest built up. It's all gonna depend on your situation, but if you have something running in the background that's, fueling your income, you're not gonna feel that pressure to accept brand partnerships that aren't a fit or to turn it into another job where you just have to create content every day. I think if you
Right.
can have something else, that would be great, and then I think that's why it's so important to diversify your income too.
Yes.
When I launched Verbatim, I had it all planned out, I built up multiple streams of income, I was
Okay.
good, and then I
What were
got
your
laid
mul
off.
Wait, what were your multiple streams of income?
Brand partnerships was a big
Okay.
one. I was doing ghostwriting and some guest
Okay.
writing, and then, like, some speaking engagements, very few, but the bulk of
Okay.
it was brand partnerships.
Okay.
Um, I got laid off 2 weeks before I was gonna put in my notice, and that would have been horrible if I was not already prepared to leave, and so the more you can build up, like, that foundation for yourself, you'll just be in a more comfortable spot.
I
when you
like
do launch.
that. Okay, so we're safe girls over here.
Yeah.
Safe
Oh,
girlies.
yeah. Well, I do
Okay.
not want that stress. That just sounds
No, yeah, my adrenals need the break.
right.
Some fun questions for us before we wrap up. What's a belief you used to have about success that you no longer believe?
Hmm. I used to think that I could not consider myself successful until I specifically hit the CMO title.
Oh,
I was like gunning for CMO. I now define success by the level of joy and contentment I feel in my life while still having enough money to sustain my life and also do the things that like bring me peace.
same. Like
Yeah.
the podcast episode I just did last week was me talking about I was on paper, everything looked amazing. Like we're getting so many agency clients, speaking engagements, making a crap ton of money. But on the inside, I was a mad woman who was like, I missed my son running through home plate because I was posting a reel. And so like that was my breaking point for me to be like, okay, actually this is not success for me. This is actually just stress. So I've reevaluated what success looks like for me, and I agree with you, like, success is where I feel internally happy, I'm calm, I'm still getting to do what I love to do, but I'm not, like, just hustle, hustle, hustle all the time. That can't be the way we live.
Exactly. For me, it's just, and it sounds like for you, it's just not sustainable. And I know for some people, I think it also depends on the season of life you're in. Like maybe that is your definition for the next 5, 6 years, and that's fine. Like work towards that and know what your exit plan is,
I love
and know what you're like, what you're trying to build.
what's a hot take you have about the creator industry right now?
I would say a lot of B2B marketers say that influencer marketing doesn't work.
Mm.
My hot take is that most of them haven't tried it or have not tried it for long enough or they're
Ooh.
scared.
Ooh, yeah, girl, call him out.
Yeah.
Call him out. What's one piece of bad career advice you wish would disappear?
Hmm.
That's a hard one.
That is a hard one. Always be the easiest person on the team to work with. I think it lacks nuance. Like at the heart of it, there are good things in there. Like
Yeah.
don't be annoying, don't be
Your
mean,
butthead.
like
Yeah,
be a kind person.
yeah.
But there's also an element in there, in my opinion, that encourages people to not speak up if there's something wrong with their environment. Like that's not being easy to work with. Like you're causing strife or, you're just messing things up. And I do think it's important to set boundaries and work in a place that makes you feel safe psychologically. So be a kind, compassionate person and be somebody who shows up for your team. Don't subscribe to the idea that you have to be like the easiest person to work with.
I love that. Called self-betrayal, guys. That's another thing I was just
Mhm.
yeah, I was just talking about there's, like, self-loyalty and self-betrayal, and when you're always doing stuff for others just to make them feel comfortable, you're betraying your own self. So look that up later because it's
Interesting.
yeah, it was very good. I'm telling you, my soft girl era, I'm, like, super duper into self-help right now, so I'll teach you
I
all the
love
things.
it. I love it.
All right, so tell us about where people can connect with you. Can they work with you? Like, tell us all the things, exciting projects you have coming up. What's all going on in your life?
Yeah, it's an exciting year. So, for Verbatim, all things agency, if you're looking for influencer marketing support or speaker sourcing, you can go to weareverbatim.com. I basically live on LinkedIn at this point, so you can find my content there. And then I just launched my third newsletter and relaunched my podcast called Stop the Scroll. And you can find
Yay!
that at briannadoe.substack.com.
Whoop, whoop. All right, I'm gonna also reach out to you for Verbatim because you're over here talking about how, like, I don't have the time right now to respond fast enough or like scout out new opportunities. So
Mhm.
I'd love to talk with you over there. But this
I
was a
have some
pleasure.
referrals for you.
Okay, we're gonna
Yeah.
talk then, but it
Yeah.
was really nice to talk with you and know that I'm not alone. Like, if you're out there listening and you're an entrepreneur or you're just an ambitious woman who's working your tootie off and you're just tired, like, take time for yourself, rest, and know that you are important too. Like, what's your last piece of advice for us?
Man, I think that would be it. Like you might feel like you are betraying yourself or not working hard enough, not being productive enough when you carve out time for rest and time with
Mm,
your family and time with your loved ones. But careers are about longevity, not about sprints. And so you need to build something that's enjoyable, but also sustainable. And that's rest is a huge part of that.
I love that. I loved it. I love you. You're amazing. I
You're
love it.
amazing.
Yes, if you guys want to reach out to Brianna, you can I'm gonna link her stuff in the show notes, obviously, but we'd love for you guys to connect, get her on LinkedIn, and we'll be back next week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you for having me.